Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a DIY Dollar Tree farmhouse fabric decoupage. We're going to do 3 projects. They're all going to use Mod Podge and a foam brush. We're going to use one of the trays from the Dollar Tree, that's the small one, and one of the scarves, the black and white check, also spray paint. But if you use a different fabric, obviously you go with the spray paint of your choice. I like to spray the back of this tray black. It does help with its transparency, which I really like. It'll keep the pink from coming through, let's put it that way. And then we're going to paint underneath where we're going to decoupage white, and that will also prevent the scarf from turning pink instead of just black and white. But if you want a pink and white scarf, go for it. If you want a pink and white tray, it's all you. So if you notice here, I like with the this is the Dollar Tree, not Dollar Tree, it's not at all, it's the cheap spray paint from Walmart. I like to stand it up. It gets more of an even flow. As you notice here, you get much more even coverage on a tray like this if you could stand it up and spray it. Okay, and that's what I'm doing here. And then once you're done, don't put your spray paint away yet, because we're going to need it in a little while, and I'll show you why in a second. Now we're going to take our scarf. Now this scarf is sort of woven on the bias a little bit, which basically means it has a natural flowing angle it wants to go at. So we're going to fix that, and I'll show you how. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're just going to lay out a general size of how we want it, and we're going to cut it a little bit bigger. We're going to cut the scarf, excuse me, a little bit bigger than we want to fill in the area. And we're going to need 2 pieces for this tray. I did want to show you what I showed you there real quick is it's not wide enough to go the other direction. It wasn't wide enough to go with just one piece in the other direction. So we're going to do 2 pieces. And what we're going to do is they have like a serged edge. And we're going to go ahead and cut off the serged edge. And then we're going to match up the buffalo check, which I feel like is super important to me. But hey, if you guys want to save your scarf material and just have like a weird seam going down the middle, again, go for it. It's all about us and what we want. So if you see it, just take a moment here to find the right pieces to fit together. Okay, so now you have all that done. Make sure you have a clean surface. We're going to lay down a buttload amount of decoupage. I ended up using, for this project, I ended up using almost a whole bottle between the base coat and the top coat. And just that little bottle from the Dollar Tree. So now, I like to do is I start off on the edge, and I want to line the edge up, that pretty cut edge, with the right hand side. And then as I lay it down, I will put brush decoupage on top of it. But I am going to take, and this is where you want to make your buffalo check as straight as possible. Now, to me, it was not 100% necessary to get it 100% straight, but I got it mostly straight, and that was okay with me. If you want it 100% perfectly straight, like get a ruler out kind of thing, then you want to just work in smaller sections. You want to basically get a corner down. It isn't the easiest material to work with, I'll be 100% honest with you, because it is so thin and it does want to move every time you put some decoupage down with the brush. It will want to move on you, but that also can work to your advantage, because as you see, as I start to lay down the second piece, if I need to go back over the first area and to straighten out some lines, all I have to do is basically do that with the brush. I just make the brush go, use the brush to move the fabric just to like the straighter lines where you want it to be. And as you can see there, I lined up the seams, and you really can't see them, and you can't see them in real life either. We'll get an up-close picture in a minute. But I want the decoupage to go all around the edge. Now, I will tell you, this is just Walmart's 97-cent spray paint. And once I'm ready to cut the fabric off of there after it dries and peel it, it's going to peel the paint off, which is why I said don't put your paint away yet. Because then we're going to go back and I'll show you how to remedy that. So what I did was I put one of my cutting mats down inside the tray, and it fits almost exactly perfectly. I ended up just trimming it a little bit on its width. And I used that as I held the fabric down while I was cutting along the edge of the fabric. I'm sorry that most of that was off camera, so I apologize you didn't get to see it. But once I peeled the fabric off, it took some of that paint off, as you saw. So now we're just going to do is we're going to put that plastic cutting mat right back down over the fabric that we've already decoupaged and dried. This is already dried. And we're just going to spray paint the edges again. It's just really that simple. That's why I said don't put the spray paint away yet. So once it's done, you can just dump that cutting mat out. Now, the good thing about the cutting mat fitting almost perfectly in here is that would be a great liner for the tray. If you wanted to have food service and you didn't trust putting food down on the decoupage, you can get one of those clear cutting mats and just use it as a liner, and that would be super cool. And now, once it's all done and dry, we've cut, we've finished. Now we're just going to throw down that top layer of decoupage, seal the entire tray and all of its painted surfaces. You could embellish the handles if you wanted to. You can really have fun with embellishments if you want to, but I just wanted it plain and simple, black on the back, white on the handles, and buffalo check in the middle. Okay? So here is how it looks. And I actually was inspired by this tray that I got at Big Lots, and I just thought they looked super cute together, so I wanted to show you that. The next project, we're going to use these 2 wooden houses and as well as a headband, and then this Grateful, Thankful, Blessed sticker from the Dollar Tree, as well as some white chalk paint and black chalk paint. First I was thinking, like, everybody's like, the backs pop out so easy. They don't. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and work with them in. First thing I want to do is peel off the stickers. Now, as you can see, I saved the stickers, and I cut the stickers out to be what I wanted my window of my haunted house to look like, as well as the barn doors and hayloft doors for my haunted barn. So I wanted to have a haunted house with a haunted barn for my mini village. I would have loved if I found 2 houses that were different sizes, but this is what I got, and this is what I'm working with. I did find one of the 99-cent houses from Michael's, but those are way littler, and they're not like a box. They're just like a little wooden thing. So I just wanted to tell you that. I'm probably going to add that to the village at some point. After I went ahead and placed where I wanted all my windows, and of course some were crooked, I cut some on an angle. I just went ahead and coated black paint on the back. I tried not to get it on the edges, just so I wouldn't have to clean it off before we decoupage there. Okay? And then once it was all dry, you're going to peel off your stickers. And you'll see here, we've got, on the haunted house, we've got like a door with a window next to it, and then a couple of windows at top. And then for the haunted barn, we have the big barn doors as well as the hayloft. But now I'm just taking that same foam brush with a little bit of paint on it, and I'm just going ahead and add my embellishments. You can use a Sharpie to do this. You can use a regular paintbrush to do this, or you could skip this altogether. But what I decided to do was just to basically take it, and because it kind of acts like a straight line, just put like the window panes in there. I decided to put a little old creepy old lady shadow silhouette, just with the corner of the brush. And then for the door, just like a doorknob, I wanted to add just as much creepy factor as I could, you know, some shears that were all worn, and as this brush starts to dry, it really does end up being, you know, like pretty good for shading, which I like. And then for the barn, I'm just going to go ahead and put in the barn doors. And again, I could have gotten a neater look with a Sharpie, but I didn't want a neater look. I wanted a creepy old vintagey look. So, and then in the top of this, I decided to go ahead and put, like, it had shutters on it, you know, like how the shutters sort of, with the hayloft, you have like one shutter on each side to close the hayloft. So I wanted to make it look like that. And then I put a bat hanging upside down and a little spider web, and I used the Sharpie for that. But I just want to show you that. Super cute. And then for the other side, we're going to go ahead and just going to paint the inside white with white chalk paint. You can decide if you wanted to do just the back or if you wanted to do the inside sides. It's entirely up to you, but of course you want to let that dry first because you don't want to flip it over and ruin all your paint. Okay, so these were kind of cute. They really were, but they didn't go with my aesthetic, and of course I wanted to put the thankful and blessed stickers on there. But I will tell you, thankful and grateful, excuse me. But I will tell you that that footage did not get recorded, but all I did was take the two stickers, that the wall clings from the Dollar Tree, and I put them inside. They fit perfectly inside this house. Now, because I don't have the other houses to compare it to, I'm not sure which two sizes, which two of what size I have. So I'll tell you that the grateful and thankful stickers fit in these houses, but again, I don't know which houses they are, if that makes any sense to you. Because these houses came in 3 sizes, but I don't have any, you know what I mean? I don't have any point of reference to see exactly which ones they are. Anyway, so you're just going to put a nice coat of chalk paint down and let it dry. I just did one nice thick coat and I let it dry just a good long time. And I didn't do the sides and I didn't do the edge or the top. I just left that plain wood. Okay. And of course I just poured the paint in there, and now that's what I'm doing is I'm getting all the excess paint out. It's fine. You don't have to do that. You can put it in a tray if you want to, but sometimes I get like a lazy crafter. I'm just saying. Oh, and by the way, this is just a Dollar Tree paintbrush. This was a set that I got from the Dollar Tree a while ago, and it's pretty much what I use for everything. And it gives me a nice clean line. This one has a flat top, so it's not like a pointed paintbrush. It's a flat one. So after they're all dry, we're going to go ahead. I don't want to put the stickers on yet. We're going to decoupage them first. So we're going to use this headband from the Dollar Tree. I don't know if you're lucky enough to be able to find this, but of course, whatever fabric you want. And I cut the elastic off and then opened the seam up so that I have a nice big piece. And now I just measured the width of the house and I cut a piece out accordingly. It's a little larger, but I wanted to go and make sure that the stripes on the check lined up. Now that, as you can see, is not a true gingham. It actually has like a plaid line through it from section to section, but that didn't bother me. I still like the way it looks. And then we're just going to decoupage. We're just going to put down a layer of Mod Podge. And we're going to kind of repeat the same steps as before, but this fabric now is thicker. So the trick to doing with a thicker fabric is just to saturate it more. You want to put a little bit more Mod Podge underneath it, and you want to put a little bit more on your brush when you put it on top. And once you saturate it, then it's much easier to be able to manipulate it and put it in place where you want it and have it actually stay in place. Now, this particular headband wasn't wide enough. It wasn't long enough to go from one end of the house all the way to the other. And again, I don't know which houses I have. So I went ahead and I put the seam at the peak of the roof. But I tried to line up and match up the buffalo check or plaid or gingham or whatever you want to call it. We've had this lesson before. Buffalo check is bigger like that, and then plaid and gingham, and it's gingham, but now it's plaid gingham because it's got plaid in it. I don't know. And then once it's all starting to dry, you don't have to wait till it's completely dry. Just go ahead and trim it. And I like to be able to, I'm a righty, so the blade that is closest to the material where I'm working, I like to put that on the bottom. So that really depends on how you hold the house, is what I was going to say. Because you could either cut it like, you know what I mean. I've told you guys about before, right? The blade of the scissor that's closer to the material, you want to make sure that's under or whatever. But anyway, you want to just repeat it with the other house. I don't know why you guys love me, but I really appreciate it. And once you're done with both of these, another thing that, again, the whole footage got lost is I took one of the Dollar Tree's little white pumpkins with I took the clip off and everything, and I decided to glue it on the roof, but I took a picture of this. Well, no, you'll see it before. And then I put the white pumpkin on the roof, and then on the autumn side, I left it white, plain, and on the Halloween side, I gave it a scary jack-o'-lantern face. The other thing that I did, that's why it's going so slow here to show you, is I took one of the leaf vines and I cut it all up so I could spread those leaves out on the thankful and grateful inner pieces there. And then for the haunted houses, I'm telling you, they look really cute. So what I did was, that I didn't show you real quick, is I took a piece of sandpaper and I sanded the house up and down, and I sanded the barn left and right just to give it a little bit of texture. So for the next one, we're going to use this Dollar Tree head wrap, but we're actually going to take this plaque from the Dollar General. This was $3 at the Dollar General. And I said you could make this with Dollar Tree items, but it would cost you $3 anyway. So just go ahead and buy it at the Dollar General. But it's beautiful on the other side as it is, of course, except for the raffia. I'm not a big raffia person, but I also wanted to make it reversible like the houses. So first thing I'm going to do is going to coat everything in a coat of white chalk paint, and I'm doing that with the base as well, so it kind of blends away. And I'm doing that because we're going to have white pumpkins, but we're also going to decoupage that plaid, and we really want that plaid to really stand out and be like pure white. I just took a little bit of black and gray paint. It's Castle Gray from Folk Art, I think, or Waverly. I think it's Folk Art. And we just used that to make basically the pumpkin lines. And then I used the side of the chiseled point of the foam brush to create that peak that they have at the stems, where the stem meets the pumpkin. I just went ahead and I did that. And I also did that for the center one, even though we're going to cover it in a minute anyway. Don't ask me why. So I opened up the second headband, and I wanted to make sure I had enough fabric. So I roughly cut around. You want to make sure you don't waste a lot of your fabric. Plus, it's easier to cut it when it's real close to the pumpkin itself. I put down a good coat of Mod Podge, and you want to make sure that you snip so that the fabric will lay on both sides of that little base. And that's important. Make sure you give a good amount of Mod Podge down there. And then again, once it starts to dry, but not when it's dry completely, you can go ahead and trim up all your extra pieces. You could wait till it's dry completely. However, sometimes you risk peeling it back up, and then you'll have a dry piece of fabric that you'll have to Mod Podge back down, and sometimes that can give you a lot of trouble. So I usually wait till it's like starting to dry, where it's still just tacky, and then I want to go ahead and cut it and trim around. I took some black chalk paint, and I colored the leaf in, and I gave some dimension to the stems. The leaf on the other side is green, and it stayed green. The leaf on this side, I painted black. Now I'm just going to take some chalk paint and my fine paintbrush, and I'll tell you, this is the first and last time that I'm going to paint letters with chalk paint. It's so thick, it just doesn't really work as smoothly as just the acrylic craft paint. Next time I'm just going to get up and get the bottle. But I wanted this to feel like the trick or treat pumpkin topiary that we made last year. So I'm almost emulating it, almost, not exactly, but I want this side says trick or treat and has the plaid pumpkin in the middle. Now I'm taking the scrunchy part of the headband that had the elastic in it, and I'm pulling the elastic out. I'm hand pressing it. That was what that was. The heat of your hand, just use that to press it a little bit. And I'm cutting a few pieces to make a couple of bows. I'm cutting it in half, and then I'm going to make a tiny bow. Just a regular old tie your hand knot bow. And then I'm going to repeat that with the second piece. Of course, you want to adjust accordingly. And whatever little piece was left over I took a couple of pieces left over from that other piece that we used to make the pumpkin. And I just tied the plaid like a scarf around from the autumn side around to the Halloween side. And then I'm going to glue the ribbons on the autumn side so that they peek out on the Halloween side, if that makes any sense. And then I just took a small piece of paper. Actually, I took two because I messed up cutting this one, but live and learn, right? This is actually just the tag from the wooden pumpkins. So I just wrote the word "or" and I cut it out on a tag, and I basically glued it while the decoupage was actually still wet to the middle of the plaid pumpkin. And here's how they look all done on the autumn side. And then here is how they look on the Halloween side. And I really do love them. And that's all of these projects. Two are reversible and one is a cute tray to serve them on. I hope you guys really try some fabric decoupage. I hope any of these tips or tricks may have helped. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share this video with friends and family, anybody who might be interested in learning how to do any of these techniques. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe, and when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, you take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye!